guard should change based on the movement you want your opponent to do in order to capture your weapon. If you're always in a static guard, then your opponent's always going to be moving their sword in the same way to capture your weapon, which could be closing off the line that you want to attack. For example, if it's right foot forward against a left foot forward fighter, and say I want to catch him in tempo and hit him in the place that his dagger can't reach, which is the leg. He's going to have a harder time getting there. He's going to have a harder time defending it with
the dagger.
So for example, if he were to come forward to take my weapon, since my tip is lower, he's going to be doing a downward parry, which now, trying to hit him in the foot, if he's doing that downward parry, is going to be harder. So say he retreats, okay, and I want to attack him in tempo. I want to attack the foot, which is moving in tempo, but I'm going to be attacking under his dagger, and I want to hit him in the foot. Right now, his dagger is going to go down as he steps forward. I'm going to have a harder time hitting him there.
Because the dagger's in the way.
So if I know that if he's in left foot forward and I want to attack the leg because it's going to be the harder place for him to defend, instead of having my sword lower, I would have my sword tip higher. Because now the capture that he has to do in order to get my sword tip as he closes is going to be upwards, which is going to expose the downward target that I want. This is important because the guard you're in, you should really consider about how the guard you're in affects which takes your opponents are most logically to do, which is going to affect the targets that you attack on your opponent. This is really important because if you're trying to exploit your opponent's weaknesses or attacking to what he's bad at, if you're just always in the same guard, then you can't control this as much. Your guard should change based on the weapon take that you want your opponent to do. In other words, your guard should change to control the movement your opponent has to take in order to take your weapon. You want them to be the moves that your opponent is worse at. For example, if he is very bad at this upward take, but he's very good at the downward take, then if I always fight in the same guard and I'm down here, then he's going to have an easy take, and I'm not negating anything because of my guard. Versus if he's bad at that take and I fight in a higher guard, then now the take he goes to get is also his worst one, which is going to heighten my chances of exploiting that. And it's also going to control my new lines of attack. So what does this mean? If I pick a target on my opponent that I know is weak, I'm going to move my sword into a place that's going to cause him to move his weapons farther away from the target that I want to hit to make me hitting him easier. For this example, we just happen to be using left foot forward because we know that a lot of times people in left foot forward are constantly trying to close range and take with the dagger, or they are trying to capture with the dagger and riposte in one tempo. So a good easy counter for left foot forward fighters is to attack them in the exposed leg as it's in tempo. Now, if I am in low guard and I try to do this and he comes and tries to take my weapon and I try and attack it in tempo, it's going to be a hard time because the sword is moving where I want to attack because that's the guard on me. Versus if I'm in a high guard and he moves to take my weapon, now it's going up and away from my target, exposing my target and making it easier to hit.